Hello everybody and welcome to another Thursday Thinks. Today's Thursday Thinks is all about confidence around horses. Now, for those of you who haven't met me before, my name's Marianne and I'm the founder of Naturally, which is a source of information to help you to heal your horse, mind, body and soul naturally. Now, I have 5 horses. I'm lucky enough to have them at home. And they have taught me so much. 4 of the 5 are rescues, and the other one I class as a rescue because he was in such a poor state when I got him, and it just wasn't that great. And I have only had horses myself, physically owning them, for about 8 years now. So it's not as though it's been my entire lifetime, but I have obviously ridden horses in riding schools when I was younger, and my mother had horses when she was younger, so she's been an influence on me as well. And when it comes to confidence around horses, it's something that I've battled with. My first instinct when I'm in a situation that I'm unsure about is complete unconfidence, and I have to really know what I'm doing and really understand what's happening and be prepared for it. For me to be okay in those situations and take control. If I don't, then I find that my confidence is lower and I go into oh my god mode, and then it takes me a little while to figure it through, in which case so many things could have happened in that time. Now, when you're in riding school and things like that, when you're younger, you're always told, show the horse your boss. Make sure that they don't see your fear. If they know you're in charge, then you'll be fine. And from having the horses that I've got, I don't think that's the case. Now, yes, okay, if you're around a horse that you've never met before, you need to have the confidence to know what you're doing. You need to have the confidence to know that if they're uncomfortable, if they're unhappy, if they're in a flighty state of mind, that there are certain things you should and shouldn't do, and there are certain ways that you should act so that you're safe and everybody else is safe, not to mention the horse. So, yes, okay, I do agree with that in a slight way, but this whole situation of you must be in charge at all times and you must have complete confidence at all times around horses, I think that is a really, really bad state of mind to be in, and it was certainly something that I was taught initially when I had the Major, who was my first horse about 8 years ago. And I was told by the school or the yard that I was on that I needed to make sure he knew that I was boss. Now, his personality is chilled out, he's confident, he good, whatever you do, yeah, right, thanks very much. So it wasn't really too much of a drama with him, and I didn't feel as though I had to do much, and most of the time I just went at the yard owners because I was like, we good, he doesn't need any telling. And yeah, okay, sometimes when he had an opinion, that was fine, I listened, and admittedly I probably didn't listen as well as I do these days because I was still learning, but we were good, there wasn't really any issues. And when I had my second horse, the Grey Lady, who I had as a girlfriend for the Major, because the riding school that he was a part of, as the part of the livery that I had him on, it was shutting down, so I thought, you know what, he needs a friend. And I think he'd quite like a little mare, and I'd like a ride and drive because I wanted to try driving horses, and I thought it'd be nice to have my mother come out on little rides with me because she was quite active in looking after the Major with me. So I got this little grey cob who was a gypsy cob, 13-1. She was beautiful, but she was a mare, and that is a totally different kettle of fish. Geldings are happy to do whatever, yeah, fine. Generally, that is what they say. And I can't say much to that effect because we'll talk about Egypt in a minute. But when it comes to her, it was such a different situation. She was lovely to be around. If you weren't telling her to do something, if something was her own decision, that was absolutely fine. So I was quite comfortable around her, you know, brushing her and leading her around, and she was, yeah, that's fine, yeah, that's all good. And then the vet came out to see her to do her initial checks to make sure that she was okay, and I hadn't brought a horse that had various illnesses. And the woman turned into a demon. And at the end of it, the vet said, you're going to have to get a grip on this horse. You're going to have to make sure she knows you're in charge. She knows you're the boss, and she shouldn't be acting like this. And I was like, whoa, okay, which completely threw me off because she was just so nice for me to be around. And yeah, okay, I never truly asked much of any of my horses because I keep them in such a natural way and interact with them so differently to how most people seem to that I've come across, that I don't feel the need to do a mountain of things with them every day. And I've got 5 of them. That's a lot of time out of my day when I work a 9 to 5 as well. So there's a lack of time, there's a lack of need on my part to rush them through things and get them doing things and X, Y, Z. It's just too much. So I never asked her to do much, no. So I thought, I need to figure out how to be around this horse, and I lost my confidence around it after seeing how she reacted to the vet, and she was up on her hind legs and she was doing cow flicks at him. She really wanted to kill that man, and I was scared of her. This lovely little pony that I loved to pieces, that I first got, and she was a joy to be around, and she was, on a couple of occasions she had protected me. There was people that had gone past and they were talking at me and I wasn't feeling confident, and she would stand between us and she would give them evils. I was like, I love you. You protected me. I feel as though we've got a great bond together, and that was just awesome. But I lost that confidence just because of a single situation. Again, going back to my personality type, I went into unsure mode. I went into unconfidence. And some would say that that would destroy a relationship, but it didn't. It didn't between me and her, because it made her see that there are some things that she does that affects me, which some people would say that means that I showed her a weakness. No, I didn't actually. I showed her a weakness, which means that she knew that I had some and that I was happy to show them to her. And because we are obviously a predator species in the way that we act and the way that we come across, for a prey species like a horse and things like that, to see that weakness, to see that side of us, that did something to her. And she was a lot more careful around me. Not sort of, I don't want to hurt you sort of thing, but it's more of a case of, it's okay. I didn't mean it for you. You weren't trying to stab me with a needle. And the more I interacted with her, the more I found that. And then I had my first natural horsemanship instructor. Now I know not everybody is up to natural horsemanship, but it worked for me and it worked for our relationship. And working with Jenny, who I had at the time, and interacting with her and seeing things through the natural horsemanship eyes, I got to see more of the personality of the pony that I had, and to see why she was acting the way she was and why my confidence had dipped and what that meant to our relationship, so that my confidence then come up because I could understand her a bit more. So I had those two, and then we moved to where we are now, and I ended up having 2 youngsters more or less within 6 months of each other who were Blue Cross babies. I then lost the Grey Lady. I then got Midnight, who is my current matriarch, and then I also had Princess, who was a miniature Shetland, who was left at the place that we're at now, abandoned behind, bless her. And then we ended up with Spring when we lost Princess. So losing the Grey Lady was a difficult situation for everybody, and I found that the mood of the entire herd dipped, and they were looking for leadership, and I was happy to step into that role because I've got that nurture personality that I want to just cuddle everybody who's important to me when they're not feeling great, and that's exactly what they needed. And giving them that support, especially the babies when they were so young. I mean, if you think of Pagan, she wasn't even 1 year old at the time, and she needed that emotional support. And I found that giving that emotional support gave me confidence because it was something I knew how to do. And once they got over that, the babies then got a bit more confident and they got a bit over exuberant because they were like, yay, you're interesting now because we've had that interaction. We know we can trust you with how we're truly feeling. And that ended up with me losing a bit of confidence because of Egypt. Now, those of you who've been with me for a while, you'll know that Egypt is an interesting personality. My mother refers to him as Jekyll and Hyde. He's either, okay, yeah, good, I'm good with that, that's fine. Or he's up there and he's explosive and it's really, you really don't know, or for people who don't know him, don't know what you're going to get, whether you're going to be getting the horse that'll kick and bite you or the horse that wants to come and snuggle up with you. So I got him when he was 1.5 and he was the first youngster that I truly interacted with. And I had about 6 months to get used to having him around before I ended up getting Pagan when she was 6 months old. And he destroyed my confidence completely. Now, he was a baby, so I treated him like a baby. And that wasn't entirely right because of the experience that he'd had, being a rescue horse, losing his mother when he wasn't even a single year old. It had truly impacted him. And then he was thrown into a herd of very, very dominant horses at the Blue Cross. And he was trampled on, bless him. So when I got him, I thought it was a meek and quiet little ropey child who was all skin and bones. He really hadn't been nourished properly when he was with his mother, and then consequently being in a dominant herd, he was shoved about so much that he couldn't get the nutrients that he needed. And then he came here, and I am very particular about the diet that I have my horses on. I make sure that they have the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, and everything else that I can provide them with so that they're as healthy as possible. So his personality developed very, very quickly into what it probably should have been before I got him, if his background had allowed it. And he came out explosively, and he suddenly had a lot of opinions, and he needed, I don't want to say a firm hand, because he never has needed a firm hand, because he is quite a sensitive little man. But he needed a little bit of a butt kicking every now and then. Now, the Major gave him that when he was so young. And the Major was actually quite brutal. I was actually very, very concerned because I was like, he's a baby, you can't do that. But he did. And actually I started taking my cues from him. And that gave me a lot of confidence because this young baby who was meek and mild when I got him had turned into this demon that would try and kick you every chance he got, or try and bite you. So taking my direction from the Major, I started to be particular about certain things. Okay, I need to go into that stable, you get out. Okay, I'm going to put that hay net up. No, you can't be under my armpit. You need to be stood over there. I'm coming up because I'm taking that hay net down. No, you can't be in my face. And I felt evil to start off with. But again, going back to my personality, I was quite unconfident about doing these things because I was like, he's a baby. What do I don't want to ruin this child. But in knowing what my ground rules were and setting those out for him and maintaining them as I've gone along with then having Pagan and later Spring that I've now got, I found confidence in that because I know what I stand for, they know what I stand for, and the entire herd is on the same grounding. So I have a certain level of confidence now around my horses. And you're probably thinking, oh my God, what are you doing? You're being unconfident around and having 5 horses to deal with. But in certain situations, I have the confidence with certain horses and lose confidence in other horses. So in certain situations, I have full confidence in Midnight. I have full confidence in the Major. And then in that same situation, I have no confidence in Egypt or Pagan. And then it'll flip because they've got their own personalities and their own confidence about certain things. The Major will go past anything and do anything I ever ask him to. But if there's food around, you gotta beware because he's so food focused, he becomes blind to everything else, blind to basic manners. And you gotta be quite strict with him. Whereas in any other situation, even if you're riding him and the situation looks very ropey, you can trust him and he'll take you through it. In that case, I have full confidence with him, which means that he then has confidence in the situation. Whereas when you're trying to feed him and there's food involved and he's so blind to every situation that is going around and you have to be so firm with him. I have been bitten. I have almost been kicked. And it causes your confidence to truly drop. And sometimes it hits the floor and I'm like, this is the most calm and chilled horse in the entire world. And I'm afraid. So it's really, really interesting thinking about the confidence levels that you have around specific horses. And I know that if I go and see a new horse that I've never met before, I do go into unconfidence mode because I don't know that horse. I don't know how they're going to react to certain things. I don't know what their limits are. They don't know what my ground rules are. And 9 times out of 10, they belong to somebody else. Which means that they have their expectations of what I should do around that horse or what that horse should do around me. And generally they don't mesh because I do things so differently with my horses that sometimes when I'm going, that's my personal space, get out of it, they're like, what are you doing? Don't be so mean. Or the horse is up under your armpit, she's like, you didn't like my ground rules of don't come so close. And they go, why are you letting them in your personal space? I don't think it's very nice what they're doing. Why aren't you telling them off? You're like, I don't know where I sit in this situation. So with a new horse that I've never met, I do go into a confidence mode. But in the right situation, the right understanding, in the right connection, my confidence can go through the roof and I'm like, I got this, it's good. That being said, sometimes too much confidence is a bad thing because I can be really feeling myself and be like, yeah, I got this, everything's good, everything's fine, everything's going to go my way. You walk on the yard and the horse is like, I don't want to talk to you. You're so up yourself that you can go screw. And I literally can't go anywhere near any of my horses and I have to literally take myself down several pegs to go and catch and have their feet done. And other times I can have such low confidence because I've been working really, really hard. I've had some really big issues come up at work, or I've been awake until 2 o'clock in the morning editing videos for the YouTube channel, that I am dead to the world. And going and talking to my horses is just an extra thing to do. And whilst I love it, my confidence is through the floor because I'm knackered, because I've had a bad day, my emotions are everywhere. And I walk in and they're on top of me, they're in my face, and there is nothing short of having a big hissy fit in the middle of my yard that will give me the personal space that I need to be able to get to the tack room to feed Major or to go put the hay nets up. And so it's really, really interesting how, yes, okay, your confidence levels fluctuate depending on the situation, depending on the horse that you're around, but it also fluctuates from day to day because we're not set people. We're not completely in a set mood every single day. We're not in the same situation day in, day out. I mean, it'd be incredibly boring if we were, but it does mean that we are different people with our horses at any given moment. So I find it really difficult when people say, oh, you need to be confident around your horses, or you've got 5 horses, so you can walk in that field and you can sort that one out for me. No, I don't know that horse. Or, yeah, I have 5, but some of them scare the crap out of me sometimes. Especially when it comes to Egypt, because he's got such a temperamental personality. And I've got to be very, very careful and conscious of my own emotions because he takes it on. If I'm upset, he gets upset. If I'm happy and excited, he gets happy and excited. If I'm having a really bad day and I'm really, really grumpy, I'll best not go anywhere near him because he takes out on everybody else. So with him, my confidence is always fluctuating. And I am always working on who I am and what that means for me and my herd, because it does have such a big impact. It's so interesting sometimes just to even think, what mood am I in? Am I feeling energetic? If I am, I'm going to go in there and he's going to boing. or, oh God, I've had a bad day, I best take a rope in me just to create my own personal bubble of a circle, so that I know that I'm not going to have them in my face, and I can at least keep them at a distance if they're going to be grumpy or taking an issue with what I've asked them to do. Because I have always encouraged them to have their own opinion, which I think some people find really, really difficult to understand, of why I'm going, yeah, he's a bit grumpy today, but that's fine. I don't think he likes you standing that close to him. Can you back up 2 steps? And it's like, well, surely you're in charge, or we're the humans, so they have to do as they're told. And I don't accept that sometimes. I say, you can have your opinion. Have whatever opinion you like, as long as you're not in my personal bubble, so that I'm safe. I can listen to you, you can listen to me, and everybody's fine. And that has changed some of the relationships that I've had, especially with the Major. I've had him for so long, it's 8 years. He's 29, he's going to be 30 next year. And when I first had him, he was just like a robot. You asked me to walk, I'll walk. You asked me to trot, I'll trot. Whatever I need to do to get you to leave me alone. That's effectively the I've discovered it was the mentality. And then in time I thought, oh my God, he's the most amazing horse in the entire world. He's listening to everything I say. Yay! But eventually the knowledge came in. The understanding came in. I went, actually, okay, right, we moved to our own place. I'm not being influenced by anybody else. I've had a chance to study. I've had a chance to learn. Show me who you are. Show me what your opinions are. Like, I know that he hates to be rugged. It can be peeing down with rain, really freaking cold, and he's a Belgian warm blood, and he goes, I don't want that. The only time he'll let me put a rug on him is when it has been pouring down with rain and I put a waffle rug over his back. I am not allowed to do it up. I put it on his back, and he'll come and poke me when he wants it off because he's dried enough out. This is how particular we've got. And I know it sounds really, really particular, but it's developed our relationship so much in him knowing that I understand that that is how he feels. And me knowing that means that I'm not rushing out in the middle of the night when it's peeing down with rain and freaking cold, because I think he's going to get cold and he's going to be dithering in the morning and he's going to turn his skin and bones. There's no point, because he ain't going to have it anyway. But it's really, really interesting what his opinions are, and learning them, and knowing them also affects your confidence levels as well, because you know in some situations, I know you're not going to like this, but this has to happen. Like, Egypt hates needles. Little Spring hates needles. And I know that in the situation where they have to have their vaccinations, or for some reason they have to have a blood test, that I am not the person to hold them for the vet to do that. Because I do not have the confidence at that time, and they understand and see that because they're connected with me and they know when I'm not feeling great. And they both go, why are you not okay? Should I not be okay as well? And I can make situations worse. So I know that if it's a situation where I'm not going to have confidence and I'm not the best person to deal with that situation, I grab somebody else. Mum, can you hold them for me? The vet needs to draw some blood. I'll stand over there. And it's not me wussing out of a situation. It's me knowing who I am and what that means for my horses. So it's something to think about with your own horses. Are you considering what your weaknesses are? What makes you unconfident? Are there ways to develop and work with that? Because I am developing that with Egypt. I am finding my own little internal tricks to find confidence in unconfident situations. Or are there just situations where you've got way too much confidence, you need to just chill it down because you're freaking your horse out, because you're coming over too much as a predator species, that it's just not right for them. So it's really, really, I really love thinking about these things, and probably do overthink it too much, but something else to think about for you lot, eh? Right, so I think that's me done for the day. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel and join us over there, where there's a big archive of all the Thursday Thinks that I've done so far, not to mention various YouTube videos about track systems and various herbs and their uses. Don't forget to like the Facebook page, join the Facebook group, and check us out on Instagram, @actually_Willa for virtual daily updates on the herd. And I'll see you all next Thursday for next Thursday Thinks. Bye!